Today we are going to go ahead and compare and contrast probably what has to be considered two of the most famous knives in the entire world. Oh, and guys, guess what? Guess who got a new camera? Yep, this guy. Now, all of the specs that you are currently looking at are measurements that I had personally taken myself. So those of you interested, good spot to pause and read. Which two knives are we going to look at? Well, on top is the Benchmade 940-2, and on the bottom, of course, is the 943. I chose the 940-2 on top because comparing just the standard 940 to the 943, there's really not going to be too many differences considering, both will have the aluminum scales. The 940-2, however, features G10. Now, one of the first differences that I had noticed almost immediately is going to be the tip. So if you see on the right is the 943, it features a much finer and delicate tip, while on the left, the 940-2, the tip is, well, quite a bit more robust, has a little bit more tip strength. The blade width is also slightly different between the two, and so on the left, the 940-2, 0.82 inches at the widest point, and here on the right, the 943 is going to be 0.84. Now, both of these, of course, have the flat ground blades. With the 940, has the grind, the height of the grind carries out more towards the tip of the blade, which at the 943 you can see the grind really does start to narrow towards the tip, also attributing to that tip strength. The handle thickness is now the next difference. You can see on the left, the 940 has a handle thickness of 0.44, and then on the right, the 943 handle thickness is 0.40. The closed width is also just a little different between the two. So I measured at the widest point, so across, is going to be 1.14 inches, and on the right is a little bit more narrow at 1.12 inches. The weight of the 940, you can see 2.7 ounces, and let's see, the 943, gosh, just slightly heavier at 2.8 ounces. Now, if we look at the body screws on the 940, has just the standard setup where you would loosen each screw from each scale when it came time for disassembly. However, on the 943, the body screws, it's just one long screw that travels through both aluminum scales to hold them together. These G10 scales here on the 940, there really isn't very much traction, and it does feel, it is, I would definitely call it on the slick side with the G10. Now, looking at the 943 with the aluminum, it does provide some texture, and so it has just a little bit better grip than the 940. Now, I really like when the construction of a knife is open and they use the barrel spacers, because it really is, it's a lot easier to clean without having to completely disassemble the knife. So the 940 here on the left, you can see is that's, my preferred open construction with the barrel spacers. And on the right, the 943 is pretty much closed construction. Oh, hey, if you like what I'm doing here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And if you like this video, do me a favor, would you just leave me a thumbs up? Thanks, guys. Now what I'd like to go ahead and try and do is I want to take both of these apart, and then I want to swap the blades. So I'll put this one on that one on this one. I'm sure it'll work, but let's prove that. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, I have previously reviewed both of these knives. So if at the end of the video, you look up to the corner and you can go ahead and click on the icon and watch my full review on both Benchmades. I don't know why I always torture myself. I punish myself when at first when I think taking apart a Benchmade is a good idea. I need someone to like stop me next time I say I'm going to take apart a Benchmade. Say, Jay, no, don't do it. Yeah, it's kind of a pain in the butt when it comes to fitting the blade back in, because as you know, unless you completely take apart like the axis lock, remove the omega springs and all that jazz, if you do not do that, then you kind of have to fit, you have to squeeze the blades in between the two scales as if it's, just like one piece construction. Anyway, it's done. It worked. I mean, we knew it would. So you can see here on the left is the 940-2. You can see the barrel spacers, open construction, and I have in fact swapped the blades, and I put the blade from the 943 onto the G10 scales. And of course, I mean, this is not going to look special because this just looks like a regular, Benchmade 940 now. But let's check I think the centering is good on both. Yep, good. Let's check this one. And, oh yeah, that looks good. Good. So hopefully, guys, that this video is going to help you to make up your mind and you can figure out which Benchmade 940, 943 is the right choice for you.